Well, hello, everybody, or should I say, ahoy, mateys. Anyway, you are watching The Grove. I am Bernardo Alvarez, and I want to thank you so much for joining me today. This is my first live broadcast of the year. It is January 24th, and I got a strange new background. I might keep it, I kind of like it. My other software wasn't working, and I had some technical difficulties, so I'm using a different one. And anyway, that's a whole nother story. But anyway, so for those of you that have been wondering where I have been and why am I wearing this strange eye patch, I thought I'd talk a little bit about well, my life, what's been going on. As well, today we are going to be doing a live Q&A. If you do have any questions and you want to ask me anything dealing with the metaphysical, the occult, magic, paganism, shamanism, meditation, and all of the above, or even just a personal question, I am going to be keeping an eye out on the chat. So please feel free to post your questions and comments on the chat, and I'll tune into that in just a moment. But before we start, as usual, I always like to read a passage from my book, The Book of One. And I picked this one because it's been on my mind a lot. I'll go into it more in just a moment. But it's again, it's from my book, The Book of One. I don't know if the blue screen's not going to let you see it as usual. And this is chapter 14, entitled The Individual Path. It says, "Do not judge others in their action. All persons know what is wrong or right for them. If they run into trouble, it was meant to be. The same if they achieve a great victory. For it is all in the way of one. Every day is a new lesson on life, and everyone must go to school." And that one's been on my mind, or at least the concept of it has been on my mind for the last couple of weeks. As many of you know, I do participate in a 12-step program called Al-Anon for the friends and families of alcoholics and addicts. And I'm coming up on a year now in a couple of weeks. And today something came across my feed that says, "Control is my drug of choice." And I had to share it on my personal page. I shared it. I was like, yep, that is our drug of choice. We want to control everything. And one of the things, and what kind of kills me about all of this is that I wrote this book back in 2008. Well, I didn't write it. It was actually, those words were written back in 1992 during my shamanic vision quest. But they were printed for the first time in book form back in like 2008. And it just kills me that, here I am in Al-Anon because I forgot all that. We cannot control another person's path. We have no ability to control other people's behavior. And that was a lesson I had to relearn. And I just thought it was the universe speaking, because I've been dealing with, well, I'm going to get to the eye thing in just a second. So, one of the things about that whole addiction to control is not only do we want to control, our friends or families drinking or drugging or anything like that in Al-Anon, but also it's a whole thing about controlling the people, the places, the things around us, and things happen and we can't always control them. So this leads me into this. So I don't know how many of you remember, maybe about a month or so ago, I did mention that I was seeing floaters, and I ended up having something called vitreous something or other, kind of like an aneurysm where a vein popped in my eye and I couldn't see anything. But that cleared up. And unfortunately, when I did go to the eye doctor, they weren't able to see because of all the vitreous fluid was clouded. And so I went back 2 weeks ago for a follow-up appointment. And the reason why they wanted me to come back is they couldn't see the back of my eye with all the cloudiness. And it turned out that I had a torn retina. So that's what this is all about. If you're on my Facebook pages, I have been posting about it and being keeping you all updated with that. And so my vision now is I'm wearing a medic alert bracelet. I don't know if you can see it. And that's to warn any doctor in case I get into like an accident or something that the technique that they use is they put a gas bubble in your eye after they laser it and clean it and sew the retina back together or whatever it is. So I have a gas bubble in my eye right now and I can't really see anything out of it except for like blurry prisms of light and whatnot. And it was making me nuts. And I asked the doctor what I could do about it. And he's like, well, a lot of people wear a patch, it makes it less disconcerting to have this like one eye blurry and one eye normal. So you'll be seeing me wear this patch for the next few live streams. But things seem to be going well. And as soon as that cloudiness clears up, I should be good to go, according to my surgeon. So until then, I am Patch Man. So I'm going to go ahead and click on to the chat and say hello to you all. I see Terry is there on Facebook. Hi, Terry. Oh, I see Elizabeth on Facebook as well. And I see Miss Venom Doll. Hello there. Good to see you. And Lemurial Starseed Wannabe. I like that name over on YouTube as well. So thank you all for joining me today. Anyway, so that is why I have not been doing the live stream. Now, with that being said, don't forget that next Tuesday, we're going to be at the end of January. So I am going to go ahead and we're going to do our Imbolc Sabbath. I don't think I've done a live stream since the Winter Solstice Sabbath. Feels kind of weird jumping right into another Sabbath, but I'm very grateful. We are going to be at the halfway point of winter, so we will be doing our community live Sabbath for Imbolc next Tuesday. I'll post more information on all of my social streams so you can know how to prepare if you want to join us and be a part of that. Anyway, so as I said, today's just going to be a kind of a casual day. I wanted to I really didn't have it in me to write a class. I do have a class written, or show, I should say, even though some of my shows end up being classes. I do have a show written that I was planning on doing at the beginning of the year, but then all of this happened. And I decided I'm going to do that in a couple of weeks. One of the medicines that they have me on is prednisone, which is making me a little cloudy-headed and groggy and kind of like irritable. So I don't know if I should be talking about healing. One of the things is going to be healing from trauma. We're going to do a talk on that. And I was like, I don't think it's a good time for me to be talking about that. So I figured we'd just hang out and talk a little bit about, how's life going for you guys? How's life going for me? And some things that you might have some questions about. I will say, so I'm going to jump in and share some information with you about my own spiritual practice. There's something recently, I believe it was the last full moon, and I just found the last full moon to be absolutely so beautiful. And with my very busy schedule, I've been way too busy to perform full moon spots with my grove or even public ceremonies or anything like that. And I've really been missing that. So I'm kind of leaning into doing those again. I will not be doing them live, unfortunately. It'll be by invitation in person in my home. But I really am leaning into that again. I miss the monthly celebration of acknowledging the energy of the moon and aligning with it, doing our spells for the month ahead and doing some healing and all of that. As well, one of the shows that I've been thinking about, and I wonder if you all would be interested in this, I've been thinking about doing a show on magical ethics. I think I've done one maybe like 2 years ago. I believe it was the one, harm none, do what you will, or one of those. And it's been a while. And one of the things that I find that a lot of younger, I'm not going to say younger, I shouldn't say that, fledgling practitioners may have some confusion over is that when we say harm none, do what you will, that will is not small will, like small WILL. It's big capital WILL. And that is the will of your higher self, the will of source, the will of goddess that you're channeling through you. That we do practices. I do practices daily to align myself with the will of my goddess, my universe, my source. And I try to act from that. I know we get caught up in day-to-day things and we get distracted. And, things do happen that we react. I mean, we're only human. Goodness knows with the way things are going in the world. A lot of us are, kind of short tempered, and maybe we're like easily sensitive and whatnot. But that's not the will that I talk about when I say harm none, do what thou will, meaning the thou, the spirit, the higher self. So I was thinking about like the magical ethics and how important it is to really consider and discern when we're doing a healing, when we're doing magic, when we're doing spells and things like that, that we really consider the ethical, consider the way of doing it in an ethical nature, meaning not imposing our will on another being, not infringing on their privacy. I teach a class on magical ethics at the Gray School, and it's interesting how many people have so many different perspectives when it comes to these types of things. I'll give you an example for me, not from one of my students, but from a client that I had several weeks ago about doing a healing on a family member. And I was like, well, unless you get express permission from him, it's not my place to do anything that's going to change his path. And it goes right back to the passage that I read here from the Book of One just earlier, a few minutes ago, how everyone is on their own spiritual path. And if I were to do a healing on your husband, your wife, your kids, or without their express permission, I'm imposing my will onto them, my small WILL will onto them. And usually, what I offer as an option is I can do a distance healing, but it would have to be toward their higher self, toward their soul, and the soul and the higher self would choose if it was for the benefit of the incarnated body, if it chooses to receive the healing. So it's not like there's always a little bit of a loophole somewhere in there, but at least this way we're giving his soul the choice of wanting to accept that healing that we're doing. One of the scenarios that we talk about in the magical ethics class is we offer a scenario that I believe it's a boyfriend had broken up with his girlfriend, and he approached a reader to kind of look in on her, a psychic, to kind of look in on her because he's worried about her and wants to see how she's doing. And immediately red flags go off. I'm like, this is like stalker behavior. And not only that, it kind of demonstrates that someone like that is not really moving on. If you're broken up, it's been 6 months or whatnot, it's time to move on. Let's stop doing readings to see on how they're doing. So that was another great example of, again, one of the scenarios that we, in one of the classes that I teach, that we discuss. But anyway, so I'm starting to see some action going on here in the chat, and I see Liz has asked a question. What have you done with Esther Hicks and Abraham and the message of ask and receive it? Well, yeah, of course. What have I done? Yeah, I've done it. I love Esther Hicks. I know a lot of people may not be crazy about her work, but I philosophically, metaphysically speaking, I love the message that Abraham offers, and I love how it kind of applies to any spiritual path. Quite honestly, when you look at it, and especially occultism, paganism, witchcraft, that kind of stuff, it kind of layers into that. So I love it. Um, I hope that answers the question. Let me say hello. I see Divine Downloads and Divination is joining us from YouTube. Hello. Very good to see you. And Terry is saying, hope you start your Reiki sessions again soon. I miss. Oh, yes. Thank you. I always feel better and calmer after them. Yeah, we used to do a local Reiki circle here in Roanoke. We used to have a group called Earth Spirit. Actually, it's still online. I still post to it. Uh, but I another thing I've been considering is getting more active and teaching locally versus online. And that's the thing about, I have to say a little bit of the why is that when the pandemic hit, I went strictly online. All of my classes were online. Of course, all of my clients, all of my Reiki had to go online. I couldn't have them come over, and I couldn't do Reiki on them. So I started doing all virtual. So I'm going to I enjoy, the only thing I started doing again IRL in real life is doing the Sabbats, some of the Sabbats here at my home with invited guests, people who are a part of my grove and or the outer, what we would consider outer circle friends of the coven. But yes, I do want to start doing more live. As a matter of fact, I was approached to do one of our mini conferences that we did, gosh, like 5 years ago. Somebody asked us if we were ever going to do that again, and that might be a good way of doing it. Let's see. Divine Downloads and Divination as, is it raw love of one? In reference to what? I'm not sure what you mean. I know about raw love of one. Um, I've had people ask me if the Book of One has something to do with that, and no, it doesn't. I believe the raw law of one is very, very similar. It's fair to say that a lot of this information is kind of, how do we say, it's in the collective unconscious of the universe. And I feel there are some of us that kind of tap into it, and we channel that information and bring it to this dimension of reality. I feel that way about Buddha. I feel that way about Lao Tzu and the Law of One and Esther Hicks. So it's just some of us have been lucky enough to be able to tap into that and I've been voluntold that's what I'm supposed to be doing in this lifetime. Was not a choice. I always joke that I am the apprehensive spiritual teacher. Kind of got plopped from this place in my life and plopped here in front of the screen for all of you for the past not 15 years or more. I don't know. It's going to be 20 years soon. No, 15 years soon. So Miss Venom Doll is saying, what is a good way to incorporate witchcraft into my daily life? I am a witch, but have not been practicing. This is one of my New Year's resolutions. I just lost my mother, so I haven't started. Okay, so let's start with, you've just lost your mother. If I am dealing with a client right now who also lost their mother. And they're a student of mine. I'm tutoring them, for lack of a better, tutoring them. He's a school of magic, and he's getting one-on-one tutoring from me. And he's going through the same thing of losing the mother, and he's like, kind of same thing. Wants to start doing daily practices. And anyway, the first thing I said was, put a picture of them on your altar. One of the things that we do that sometimes a lot of us forget is that a part of our magical practice, especially in witchcraft or shamanism or whatever it is that we honor our ancestors. We communicate with them. They're never gone. They just change form. Yes, we're the ones that have to stay behind and grieve them and go through all the legal stuff that we have to deal with after they go. But their energy is still there. They still want to help us. And I think a great way to start is by using pictures of our ancestors on our altar. I have photos of my mom and dad around my magical bookcase where I keep all my magic books, and then I bring them out onto my altar, usually around Samhain time. But as far as like daily ways to incorporate your practice daily, I will say this. One of the things I tell my students is to practice witchcraft, you have to practice witchcraft. So I can only share with you what's comfortable for me as far as like my daily practice. My daily practice involves uh, going into meditation. My daily practice involves moving life force energy through my body, if you want to call it chi, goddess energy, source energy. I bring it down. I try to awaken my third eye. I don't try, I do it until I feel that it's open. And as well, I will invoke the goddess into my day. The invocation that I do during my S spots and my Sabbats, I do it during my meditation. And I just kind of change the words a little bit, that I am invoking her into my day to let her be a part of my day. And I think the most important thing that I do here and in this daily practice that I do is that I ask that my will be thy will. That's something I learned during my training in ceremonial magic. And now, as a member of Al-Anon, I'm on step 3, so it's the same thing. Who knew? Yeah, it goes, back centuries and different practices, and now they've moved it into the 21st century. But aligning with our will, I believe energy work is the most important thing when it comes to day to day witchcraft practice. Practice moving the energy down through your crown, practice moving it, through your hands, practice sensing your chakras. We are the channel of the universal life force energy, which is our power. One of the other things that you can do to practice is practice visualization. Do exercises to practice visualization. One of the tricks that I teach people, especially my newbies that are just joining the group, or new students, is do the I call it the apple trick. Get an apple, put it in front of you, stare at the apple. Try to imagine the apple from every point of view: above it, from the left of it, from the right of it, from behind it, and stare at the apple. Close your eyes until you see the apple. The image is imprinted in your mind. And then just with your hand and your eyes closed, take the apple away and open your eye and visualize the apple there. You're creating a thought form. You've created a thought form. Um, and that's what a lot of magic is all about, is creating thought forms and releasing them into the universe. So I hope that's kind of helpful. Um, Now, if you want to do more I did more like magical stuff, offerings here, examples here. But if you want to do more religious practice, something as simple as going going to your altar. If you don't have an altar, create one. Going to your altar, lighting a candle, lighting an incense, and doing a prayer to your goddess, whoever that goddess may be, or God, depending on what tradition you may follow, or who you're drawn to at any particular point. But talk to them, sit and talk to them, let them know what's going on in your life. Feel their energy, feel them around you, and do an offering of incense. And that's a good religious practice. And then when it comes to magic, I think it's energy is the way to go. Start training your energy, your visualization, creating thought forms, and things like that. Simple. Yes, Abraham is great. I see Marian High is joining us from Kauai. So good to see you again. Oh, Divine Downloads, you were able to do the soul retrieval video. Wonderful, wonderful. Yes, I actually have a soul retrieval client after this live stream, which is, I'm going to probably run a little bit late. I'll go on for about another 10 minutes. um, hello, Patricia on Facebook. Say hello to my friends up there in Canada. If you're in Winnipeg, I have some dear friends up there. Susan on YouTube is saying she did the soul retrieval yesterday and just what she needed. And you are so very welcome. I'm going to share a question with you that one of my clients asked. I have a client that she likes to do like the full Bernard experience every few months. And it's a package I do, but I don't sell it as a package. And usually that it starts off with a consultation, and then a week or 2 or 3 later, we'll do a spiritual counseling session, just so I can get to know what it is that they need, what it is that they're looking for in their life, what aspects of their life they need to focus on or want to focus on. I should say what they want to focus on. It's not about me. It's about what I can do to bring out your potential and your authenticity. And she kind of chose oh geez, what is it? My course, the Awakened. I already forgot the Awakening Code. Hello, the Inner Alchemy course that I do, which is we do the soul retrieval, we do a Reiki healing. I don't know if we did past life regression, but I think I want to do a live course on that. Anyway, so she likes to do that every couple of months, and she's the one that she'll be doing the soul retrieval. If you do the soul retrieval video, and yes, I do offer it one-on-one. It's a little bit more powerful when it's one-on-one. If you do the soul retrieval video, I usually say to do it about, maybe every 30 to 90 days, because life happens. And the next thing you know, we're making agreements that we did not realize we were creating new energetic cords with other beings, individuals, energy, that kind of things that we're feeding things. And I love that because it does kind of cut all those cords and cleanses you of all of that. But yeah, that made me think of that. I just wanted to share that for some reason. Solitary practitioners. I started off as a solitary practitioner, and well, if you haven't already, please get Cunningham's Wicca for the Solitary Practitioner. Whether you follow Wicca or not, whether you're just eclectic pagan or Gardnerian or whatever it is, it still offers a lot of great little exercises and things like that. I have a friend of mine who's a solitaire. Actually, she's not a friend; she's an acquaintance, and I actually haven't talked to her in over a year. But she does her full moon ritual instead of doing a full spot by herself. Is she communes with the moon? That's her full moon ritual. She goes out after dark and she says, I just follow the moon around my neighborhood. She just looks up at the moon and just walks around, and kind of like a walking meditation to align with the energy of the moon. She'll do some intention work or spell work while she's doing that, following the moon. But I think that I feel and I believe that solitary practitioners have the freedom to do these wonderful, different, non-mainstream, non-covenant type practices. You have the freedom to do all of that. So, maybe ask other solitary practitioners, how do you celebrate an Espan? How do you celebrate a Sabbath? A lot of solitary practitioners join this channel just to do the Sabbaths that we do, as to kind of make them feel as a part of the community, but do their own spots. And you can do a full spot. One of the things that I did learn early on, as when I was during my solitary phase, was to do a silent S-spot, which a friend of mine mentioned that. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to give that a try. And I loved it. And what a silent S-spot is that, in a coven, the priest or priestess is going to either give you a script to read, or if you're a Gardnerian, a whole ritual to memorize word for word. Yes, I'm the guy that gives the script. I don't do memorization because I like to change up the people that are doing north, south, east, or west, or priest or priestess. So we kind of do the same ritual, but we hand it out as a script so people don't have to memorize things. But however, back to the solitary aspect, you can, for example, do an S-spot silently just by, standing before your altar or just going outside. You don't need to have an altar. And casting a circle just by walking the perimeter of a circle, creating a circle in your mind and using your visualization techniques to create that barrier between your sacred space and the world outside of you. And then what I like is when you do the calling of the quarters, for example, you don't have to memorize the words. You just have to visualize, for example, the fire element, and just visualizing heat and dryness and the power of transformation and passion, and evoking all that feeling within you without having to say a word. Calling the goddess, just outstretching your arms and invoking her and calling her to you, just using your heart, using your mind, and just visualizing that full moon energy, if it's an S-spot, coming down and joining you in your space. So think about doing a silent S-spot if you're practicing as a solitaire. It's also a great learning tool for people that are a part of covens. If you just because that way you don't get distracted by the script, and you can actually do the energy work behind the words. It's not just about the words, folks. I will say that. It's not just about the words. It's about the feeling behind the word, the intention behind the words. Terry says, been trying to do grounding. Is there a good way for this, or is this just a bare feet on the ground good enough? Actually, yes, bare feet. For me, bare feet on the ground is just good enough. I do it a little bit differently. Again, as many of you know, I was diagnosed with PTSD last year. I had no idea I had it, but I did. And I went through that real high anxiety phase, and I had to change the way I needed to learn how to ground. And I just went right back into my my Zen meditation techniques of just counting my breaths and to ground. For me, what I do is because I do ground every morning with my meditation. So what I do is I do my breathing work, my breath work to silence the mind, to ground my thoughts in this moment. And then what I'll do is I'll feel that energy coming from source, moving through me and going into the earth. Yes, with my feet on the ground. But there are a lot of different techniques. I do believe it does start with bringing your thoughts to this moment. That's probably the most important aspect for me. That's the most important aspect of grounding, is grounding your thoughts in the here and now. So breathing, quieting your mind, and letting yourself be here now. To be cliche, yes. Oh, I'm glad you like that. Very good. Thank you, Tony. It was nice having you here. Thank you for being here. How can I sign up for your personal sessions? You can go to my website, bernardalvarez.com. And I believe, let me open it up because I forgot what it says there. You can just click on booking. Yeah, there's a tab up there that says booking, and it says book a session. Oh, yeah, and weddings. So yes, I do hand fastings and whatnot. But if you want to book a session, you can learn more about that there at bernardalvarez.com bookings. But I love that. I love that. I have I love teaching people at their own pace. I know sometimes, as a teacher, as someone who ran several teaching covens, I know a lot of people are have a different way of learning. They learn at different speeds, and things. Some things stick with them. Some things they have a harder time on. So I call it my magical tutoring. So I love doing magical tutoring because actually one of the people that I'm working with now is a part of a gardenerian group, and it's like, oh, they're talking too fast, and I don't quite know what they're meaning or anything like that. And as well, you can also join me over at Grace School, and it's not one-on-one, but I do email. I answer email during my office hours and things like that. If you have a question about a particular class you're having a hard time with, so I do give you a little one-on-one attention there, but it's not like a full 45-minute session of, okay, what can I do for you today and what do you need? So I see Lisa. I haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you on YouTube. Lovely to see you. You were here on one of my. Oh, thank you so much, Lisa. When I chanced upon the Global Illumination Council, yes. Oh, yes. It's funny you mentioned that. I was thinking about Annabelle, and I was like, God, I really want to do a show with her. I haven't had a show with her in many, many. Actually, I want to go visit her. I've had I miss her. I miss all of them. I miss Yvonne. I miss Treva. I miss Derwin, and everybody else who was involved. Our board of directors were pretty freaking awesome people, and they made it all happen. Oh, you like the background? Yeah, I might keep it. I just grabbed it real quick. I was like, I need something. Like I said, one of my my other software that I used wasn't working. And I'm like, let me just grab something. So yes, I hope that helps. And you're very welcome. I am honored. Divine downloads and divinations. So thank you for your love and compassion and serving others with your willing heart. Many blessings and love to you, and many blessings and love to you too. Like I said, what was it? 1994 when that the timing of that book, and I had that vision quest, and they were like, you need to go back down there and teach them how to connect with all of this. And I was like, ugh. And then in 2006, I think it goes into the book too. I just kind of got thrown into this. I did a video. I forgot what it was. Anyway, if you go on the 16 years later video, which I posted a few months ago, you'll hear the story a little bit of how I ended up doing this for so many people, which is cool. Very, very honored. And I'm so grateful that I was around at the right time. I believe the universe makes everything happen for a reason. I really do. I believe in free will, but I also believe in energy just falling into place and kismet. And I don't believe in coincidence. I do believe everything happens for a reason. Oh, okay. I got to get ready for my client, y'all. So I do have to get going. Remember, next week, we are going to be celebrating the Imbolc Sabbath. For those of you that don't know, it is the day between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. It is the halfway point or midwinter. So we're going to be leaning into a spring coming in the next several weeks. So it's a great opportunity for us to align with the cycles of the earth and of the seasons. And I look forward to doing that with all of you. Thank you so much. If you aren't a subscriber, please subscribe. If you would like to tip me, please go in the description below. You're welcome to give me a tip. What do they have now? Stars on Facebook. I just got it the other day, and I'm like, oh, what's that? So now I have stars on Facebook. Plus, I also have the fan subscriptions on Facebook, YouTube, and of course Patreon. Oh, and I have a new patron. And if you're not, I can't look it up right now, but I forgot to welcome you, and I want to thank you so much for becoming a new monthly patron on Patreon. So thank you so much for joining us. I love you all so very, very much, and I will see you next week for Imbolg. You all have a great week now. Bye bye.